and welcome for all participants. Now the topic of 301 program in this session is about application of fisheries oceanography, and next I will give a time to Dr. Yani.
Okay.
Dr. Yani, time is yours.
Okay. Siapa yang tolong sharekan screen?
Oh yeah, the classical problem.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe operator could be share screen to help Dr. Yani.
Thank you.
Maybe you could share the PPT, maybe slide.
Yeah, yesterday dah share. Nak share lagi sekali.
Oh, sudah.
Yeah.
Oh, already. Okay. If already, I think I'm because I'm late to join this,
It's okay.
this class. Okay, please, operator, to share screen the material.
Ada ke nak hantar lagi sekali? Or let me try. Check. Let me try.
We're waiting for Dr. Yeni to try send the material of presentation.
Can you see my screen?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Really? No. Okay, can you see? Nampak tak?
Tak nampak.
Tak nampak. Macam mana ya? Okay, I send you again. Lufia tak ada slide semalam ya?
The lecture is same.
Okay, tak apa. Saya hantar lagi sekali. I send you another one. Okay, dapat tak?
Okay, the material.
Thank you,
Okay.
Mana.
Operator sudah sudah terlihat ya di screen.
Okay, so Assalamualaikum dan selamat petang. Jadi hari ini adalah our last lecture. Today will be our last lecture. So today's lecture we are going to talk about current issues in fisheries oceanography, okay? Okay, so our focus is dekat Coral Triangle. So where is Coral Triangle? Okay, Coral Triangle is a marine area. Okay, they're located in the Western Pacific Oceans. include the waters of Indonesia, Malaysia, the Philippines, Papua New Guinea, Timor-Leste and Solomon Islands. Jadi kalau kita nampak dalam gambar tu, itu adalah coral triangle. So namanya is because it's staggering number of corals. So nearly 600 different species of reef building corals alone. So the region nurtures 6 of the world's 7 marine turtles and more than 2,000 species of reef fish. So the coral triangle also supports large populations of commercially important tuna, okay, yang berharga multi-billion dollar tuna industry. So over 120 million people, okay, live in the coral triangle and rely on its coral reef for food, income and protection from storm. Okay, the coral triangle hosts an astonishing amount of marine life. 75% of the world coral species are found here. Ada lebih kurang 6 different species. So over 2,000 different type of reef fish find refuge in these underwater gardens. And this is important. Okay, coral ini penting untuk tuna spawning. So whale, dolphin, porpoise, dugongs, whale shark feed, makan, breed dan migrate in these waters. So the coral triangle is home to 6 of the world's 7 species of marine turtles. Okay, jadi kenapa ocean itu penting for human society? Okay, more than 10% of the global populations is depend on one way or another on seafood as part of their livelihood. Okay, and then the oceans also provides almost 3 million people with at least a fifth of their annual protein intake, and all of us enjoy seafood and marine life as part of our culture. So dengan changing ocean, dengan perubahan laut ini, dia akan memberi impak atau consequences, kesan kepada society. So the oceans around us is changing. Seperti yang kita tahu di sebelum lecture ni, our previous lectures, the oceans is very dynamic and the oceans around us is changing, setiap hari berubah. So what are the causes? Apakah penyebab of these changes in the oceans? Dan bagaimana kesan daripada perubahan ini kepada marine fish, fish stocks and fisheries? And how this then affect the well-being of people? Bagaimana dia memberi kesan kepada manusia? And what are the solutions to this problem? Okay, bila laut temperature meningkat dan acidity juga meningkat dan oksigen berkurang. So according to Golden, Allison and Chung, they said that tropical oceans, okay, laut tropical, especially di kawasan Southeast Asia, okay, are expected to suffer most, akan memberi kesan yang teruk daripada climate impact on fish stocks. So countries in these regions are also highly dependent on fisheries. Okay, jadi what to know about carbon emission? So CO2 adalah natural occurring gas. So humans started emitting carbon dioxide during the industrial revolutions. Human activity termasuklah transportation, electricity, kilang, okay, pembangunan. So today 30 billion tons per year carbon dioxide atau 84% is related to human activity. So carbon dioxide ini akan drive climate crisis and also affect the oceans, making them 30% more acidic. So apa ancaman? Okay, so current levels and methods of harvesting fish and other resources are not sustainable. Okay, so overfishing, destructive fishing methods, and non-selective fishing gear harm fragile reef and devastate fish and other marine animals populations. Bycatch, oil spills, and microplastics are global threats to marine ecosystem. And a growing populations and the effect of climate change also threaten the coral triangle. Okay, yang pertama, overfishing. So fishing ini adalah source income yang sangat penting dan juga makanan for the people that live in the coral triangle. So bagaimanapun, fish is being depleted beyond levels which populations can recover and the reef can sustain. So sejak 40 tahun lalu, world fisheries production rates has declined almost 80% due to overfishing pressure, habitat change, pollution and climate change. So scientists telah menunjukkan, has demonstrated that several important fish stocks are already fully exploited and even overexploited. Sebab ini kerana global demand for tuna drive the fishing industry to harvest at unsustainable levels and has led to an alarming decline of tuna stocks in the coral triangle. So grouper and snapper are also being depleted as well. Okay, a study conducted by Rajabidin and Kukasim concluded that mackerel resources in the South China Sea are being overexploited, evidenced by declining trend in the catch. So selain itu, live reef fish have long been traded around Southeast Asia as a luxury food, but in recent decades, such a trade has expanded rapidly. So as much as 50% of reef fish are taken from the water before they have an opportunity to reproduce, okay, which has serious consequences on the marine environment. So threat, ancaman of overexploitations and decreasing recruitment due to degradations and destruction of aquatic habitats help exacerbate severe problems. Okay, yang kedua, destructive fishing. Okay, destructive fishing method seperti cyanide poisoning and dynamite fishing are still widely practiced. Okay, dia menggunakan bom dynamite. So, blasting destroys over 200 square feet of coral reef at a time, which leave behind an empty craters devoid of life. So, the practice devastate reef. Dia akan memusnahkan reef and kill animals that live around them. So cyanide turns skin fish without killing them, so leaving them unable to move and easy to catch in a net or even by hand. So as a result, fish populations and the local communities whose livelihoods and health depend on fish are negatively impacted. Okay, bycatch. Bycatch ni tangkapan yang kita tak mahu So every year, million of pounds of non-target fish are caught in gill net, on long lines and in trawls, and they discarded back into the sea. So whale, dolphin, sharks, seabirds and marine turtles are often accidentally caught and suffer as well. So in the coral triangle, the impact of such bycatch are devastating, particularly to endangered species seperti turtles, shark dan juvenile fish. And fishing gear is not selective in what it catches, and there is a lack of management and policy to adequately address the issue. Okay, lepas tu kita ada masalah lain, oil spills. Okay, tumpahan minyak. So oil spills are harmful to marine birds and marine mammals as well as fish and shellfish. So oil, dia akan destroy the insulating ability of fur-bearing mammals seperti sea otters and the water repellency of bird feathers, thus exposing these creatures to harsh elements. Juvenile sea turtles, okay, anak penyu, can also be trapped in oil and mistake it for food. So dolphin and whales can inhale oil, which can affect lungs, immune function and reproductions. Many birds and animals also digest oil when they try to clean themselves, which eventually can poison them. Okey, sebabkan minyak itu dia terapung di atas permukaan air laut, jadi fish, shellfish and coral may not be exposed immediately, but bila bercampur dengan air, okay, when it's come into contact with oil, if it mix into the water column, shellfish can also be exposed in the intertidal zone. So when exposed to oil, adult fish may experience reduced growth and large livers, changes in heart and respiration rate, fin erosions and reproduction's impairment. So fish eggs and larvae can be especially sensitive to lethal and sublethal impacts. So when the lethal impacts are not observed, oil can make fish and shellfish unsafe for human to eat. And then kita ada microplastic. Okay, microplastic ini adalah plastic particles that less than 5 mm. Okay, dia kecil je, micro. Okay, 5 mm. Dan dia ada dua jenis. Yang pertama, primary microplastic. So, primary microplastic ini particles yang kita produce to be smaller size, either as a raw material or end product, such as resin pellets for general productions of plastic items, and microbeads as abrasive for industrial use and personal care product. Okay, lepas tu kita ada secondary microplastic, iaitu daripada plastik yang lebih besar dan dia disintegrate. Okay, such secondary microplastic can be fragments generated through weathering and disintegration processes from plastic already present in the environment. But they can also be microfibers released from laundry, okay, daripada kain yang kita basuh, or paint, cat daripada marine structures or vessels. Okay, macam mana microplastic ini end up in the oceans? So microplastic drain to the ocean via effluent wastewater system, river outflows and beach sediments. So sea animal akan consume them or are easily entangled in them. Lepas tu microplastic ini akan di-consume by plankton. Plankton are eaten by smaller fish like the Pacific sardine, which are then eaten by larger fish and human. Okay, some microplastic float on the surface while more dense microplastic like soda bottles sink to various ocean depth. So a study from researcher dari Netherlands dan New Zealand predict that without proper handling or removal of already accumulated plastic pollutions, the world microplastic problem could double in size by the year 2050. So Irish researchers also found that 73% of deep water fish in the North Atlantic Oceans had eaten particles of microplastics. And meanwhile, a Harvard study estimated that 14 million tons of microplastic exists on the whole ocean floor. And kita akan discuss climate change. So with many fish stocks already exploited to their limits, additional stressor could have important repercussions. Contohnya, since more fish species in marine ecosystem occur in water on the Earth continental shelf, many feed or breed in exactly those shallow marine environment with the future climatic effect on temperature, upwelling, and primary production will be most pronounced. So climate is recognized already as one of the strongest influences on the growth assemblages, compositions, and abundance of juvenile fish during their residency in estuaries or coastal waters, with consequences for recruitment, production, and nutrient flux. Okay, apakah kesan climate change pada ekosistem pantai? Kita akan berlaku coral bleaching, kita akan berlaku ocean acidification, sea level rise, toxic algae, dan juga habitat fisheries disruption. So burning fossil fuels, deforestations, and industrial agriculture akan membebaskan carbon dioxide and other heat trapping gases into our atmosphere, causing our planet to warm. So the oceans has buffered us from the worst impact of climate change by absorbing more than 90% of this excess heat and about 25% of the carbon dioxide, but at the cost of causing significant harm of marine ecosystem. So not only the oceans are warming, but they also absorb more carbon dioxide. So carbon dioxide ini akan alters the ocean pH balance, which make it more acidic and toxic to some marine organism. Okay, ocean acidification. So ocean absorb excess carbon dioxide when burn fossil fuel to power cars and create electricity. This excess carbon dioxide increases acidity in our ocean on a global scale. Okay, basic science, kita tahu carbon dioxide sangat larut dalam air. Okay, that's why carbon dioxide bila mixed with water, bila dia bercampur dengan air, dia akan increase acidity. Okay, so nutrient entering the water from land exhibits acidification in nearshore waters. So coastal acidification ini datangnya daripada nutrients, daripada fertilizer runoff daripada oceans seperti nitrogen and organic carbon that harm the marine ecosystem. So the ocean absorb carbon dioxide which mixes with water. Jadi carbonate kapur that used by coral and shellfish to build their hard exteriors become a scar when the ocean's acidity increases. Sebab kapur ni bila dia kena dengan asid, dia akan terhakis. So because many reef animals rely on coral for food and shelter, changing ocean chemistry can affect the entire coral reef ecosystem. So widespread coral reef bleaching, sea level rise and seawater acidification endangered marine animals like reef fish and marine turtles. So dia akan memberi impak negatif pada local livelihoods such as fishing, tourism, and then threaten a critical supply of protein for more than 100 million people. So shellfish and coral are extremely vulnerable to ocean acidification because it interferes with their ability to form hard skeletons. Okay, terutamanya coral dan shellfish sangat-sangat vulnerable dengan ocean acidification. Ini kerana reef building corals cannot survive if the water keeps warming. So coral rely on algae living inside of them to supply with food. So these algae akan create a brilliant color of healthy coral. So if the temperature gets too hot, the algae will die. So the loss of the algae leave the coral with a bleached appearance. Sebab tu dia berwarna putih and leads to starvation. Okay, since the early 1990s, global mean sea level has risen by about 8 centimeter. So this caused by several factors. Yang pertama, the ice sheets that cover Greenland and Antarctica hold about 99% of Earth's fresh water with the potential to raise sea level dramatically. And then the average global temperature meningkat by about 1%, 1 degree Celsius over the last 150 years. So this is largely because greenhouse gases being emitted into the atmosphere. And as the ocean warms in response to climate change, seawater expands and as a result, sea level rises. Okay, selain daripada itu, bila meningkatnya climate change, dia akan berlaku blooming harmful algal blooms. So rising ocean temperature drive more intense and longer lasting toxic outbreaks. So harmful algal blooms can occur when changes in water condition lead to huge growth in the number of a particular species of algae. So the bloom can produce toxic. So bloom ini akan menyebabkan toksik dan akan membunuh marine life and even turn the water a different color. So research has established that one factor that help bloom to spread in a sudden increase adalah seperti nitrogen and phosphorus daripada agriculture fertilizers. Yang ini yang menggalakkan algal bloom. So toxic algal bloom ni can cause fish kill as well as mammal, birds and human illness as toxin move up the food chain. So non-toxic species can cause impact including loss of shellfish, loss of habitat, green grasses die, hypoxia ini kekurangan oksigen, and alter food web interactions that increase preferred higher trophic level species. Okay, climate change juga akan menyebabkan sea water temperature increase. So climate change has caused variation in marine factors such as SST, sea level rise, pH, rainfall, ice melting at the pole, and change in wind speed and directions. So this in turn changes the biology of organism and phenology, social distributions and abundance, community structure, trophic interactions, and finally fisheries resources. So climate change akan menyebabkan increase in SST and it will affect the distributions and abundance of fish populations. So the most significant impact of elevated temperature on fish population is in the change of their distribution pattern. Temperature walaupun dia naik hanya 1 darjah Celsius can have an effect on their geographical distribution. Okay, seperti yang kita tahu, ikan pelagic fish dia ada certain temperature yang dia boleh adapt. So the range limit may increase or decrease depending on the heat tolerances of a species. Setiap spesies mempunyai temperature yang berbeza. So most tropical marine fish have extensive latitude range capable of further extending the temperature gradient up to 3 to 4 degrees Celsius. Contohnya macam kalau ikan mackerel, temperature yang sesuai adalah 29 32 darjah Celsius. Tapi dia boleh adapt 3 to 4 darjah Celsius. So less than that or over than that, dia dah tak boleh nak survive. Okay. Some species may benefit from shift towards the environment conditions outside the normal range of variability. But in most conditions, these environmental changes will change peak season, fishing season and distributions of prey and prey predator relationship. Oleh itu, it is important to understand between fish distribution with its environment in order to identify the favorable habitat for fishery stocks management. Okay, ada 2 case study daripada increased temperature. So a study by Lehode on the skipjack tuna di Western Pacific Ocean menggunakan IPCC AR4 scenario showed a positive impact from rising SST due to climate change. So dia mengatakan bahawa biomass and catch of skipjack tuna were predicted to increase, akan meningkat until 2050 as the feeding and spawning habitat become more suitable for the species. Walau bagaimanapun, after 2060, the fish biomass and the fish catch will begin to decrease due to the formations of the hot pool resulting from constant global warming, which causes the area to be less suitable for feeding and spawning. And then kita ada lagi satu situation di Laut Cina Selatan. Okay, so at the end of the century, RPC scenario projected, dia menyatakan bahawa SST akan meningkat 1.8 ke 3.3 darjah Celsius. So a study by Kamaruzaman showed increased temperature pada 1.8 akan menyebabkan high potential area untuk ikan mackerel di EEZ. Tapi apabila temperature meningkat pada 2.6 dan 3.3, dia akan menunjukkan decrease in potential catch area for Arcanagota in EEZ. But most of the future fishing ground area were projected to decline and it was projected to shift outside the EEZ of South China Sea. So, mengapa ini berlaku? Okay, this is because fish have the ability untuk change their behavior in response to changes in the environment. So one of the fish response to temperature change is migration. Sebab ikan boleh berenang, jadi migration for food can also change the habitat of the pelagic fish. So as a migratory species, pelagic species have the ability to adapt quickly to the environment and are expected to grow in line with climate change, although they have a tendency to change migration patterns according to feeding and spawning areas. So, reducing fishing pressure is one of the best approaches in increasing the capacity of fish stocks in order to face the impact of climate change. So, what are the potential solutions? Bagaimana untuk menyelesaikan masalah ni? So, in global scale, the most effective way to deal with these challenges is to reduce our carbon dioxide emissions and to change our lifestyle to more sustainable way so that we can also help to reduce the overall carbon footprint of our life. So, in local scale, we can protect and restore coastal vegetations. Kita boleh eliminate overfishing and we can mitigate pollutions, kurangkan pencemaran. So by doing these potential solutions, we can improve the overall status of the ecosystem and fish stocks. So this will add capacities of fish stocks and marine ecosystem to adapt and respond to the changing oceans. So the oceans is indispensable for our planets and society. So effort untuk reduce these capture stresses are crucial in addressing this issue related to the sustainability of tropical marine fisheries and ecosystem by taking into account the impact of climate change as one of the anthropogenic components. Okay, that's all for today. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Yani. Terima kasih pada Dr. Yani yang sudah menyampaikan materi kepada kita semua. Now we continue to start the discussion for this session. Sorry, ada backsoundnya ya kalau saya.
Ya.
Sorry. Saya mungkin pindah dulu ya. Silakan sambil memikirkan pertanyaan untuk diajukan ke Dr. Yani. Silakan teman-teman.
Okay, anyone ada question? Okay, Faras. Hi, Faras.
Hi, Dr. Yani.
Hi.
I have one question for Dr. Yani. Yani, what do you think or what your opinion about fishermen who do not believe or do not care about climate change and still use tools that damage aquatic ecosystem like destructive fishing? They think climate change hasn't happened yet and everything is still normal. What should we do about this phenomenon? Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, there are people, memang ada yang tidak percaya dengan climate change. They don't believe in climate change. They thought it was something natural. Somehow it happens. Okay, but scientists has proven that and they predict that if the temperature increases dengan cepat, dengan kadar yang cepat, it will affect the oceans. Okay, so you might not see it now, but if you see documentaries by David Attenborough, you kenal tak? He's a scientist. He is 94 years old. So dia marine biologist yang daripada dulu sampai sekarang, and he already seen the changes. There are so many changes. Fish no longer ada di pesisir pantai. The haiwan biodiversity change. You know, so there are changes, and if we don't believe in climate change and we don't take action, the effect will be more major impact will happen. Lebih banyak kesan yang buruk akan terjadi. Okay.
Any feedback for us?
Enough, sir. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Yeni.
Okay.
All right.
for
Thank
the
you.
answer.
It is clear, yes? Okay, the next question, maybe. I think it is very important for us, especially for fisheries and marine science student, to understand how the causes and impact from human activity, especially in Dr. Ani has presented to us about the human activity and that impacted to our ocean. So what about the action? Yeah, I mentioned again about the action for student or for scientists to manage or to reduce the negative impact of climate change or the other. Maybe Dr. Rani.
Okay. There's one question from Arif.
Oh,
He said that could it be the same thing happen when the temperature decreases? Okay, when the temperature decreases, also it will happen maybe the same. But untuk dia decrease, mungkin it because not because of climate change. Tapi kalau dia decrease, it will happen the same. Any temperature that increases or decreases, dia akan memberi kesan to the oceans, as the oceans is very dynamic and dia akan berubah mengikut climate. Okay, for sea level rise, bila sea level rise berlaku, there are potential masalah adalah there certain countries yang di pesisir pantai akan tenggelam. There's potential akan tenggelam, dan juga dia akan memberi efek kepada contohnya polar bears. Polar bears akan mati jika sea level rise berlaku dan ice melting. Okay, kesan bagi perubahan temperature sangat banyak dan impact dia terlalu besar. Jadi for now we must help to reduce and sustainable and change our lifestyle supaya kita boleh melambatkan proses climate change.
Ya, ini perubahannya tidak dramatically ya.
Ya.
Because that human tidak not aware about the condition. Oke, ada lagi mungkin pertanyaan? You can raise hand and speak. No problem if you using in you ask with bahasa in bahasa.
Okay, thank you Arif.
Ya,
Arif said thank you. Okay.
ya, thank you, Pak Arif. Kita masih ada waktu 15 menit.
15 minit.
Ya, 15 menit.
Please, student, please. Hi, Dr.
Oke.
Yeni.
Hi.
Ada Mr. Abu, Pak Abu.
Dr. Yeni,
Yeah.
what do you think about the algae blooms? That's because of the activity on the land, or both from the land and also from the sea, that maybe interaction between both parts.
So alga bloom
Yeah,
caused by increased temperature dan juga disebabkan lebihan nitrogen and daripada fertilizers kan. So when alga bloom berlaku, dia akan affect shellfish terutamanya and fish. Bila shellfish is filter feeders kan, dia filter feeders untuk air, dan bila berlakunya alga bloom dan toksik berlaku, and if we eat the shellfish, dan itu juga akan berlaku toksik pada manusia, and it could be harmful for the human as well. Contohnya baru-baru ni di Malaysia ada keluar satu statement dari Jabatan Perikanan saying that don't eat kerang from one area. There's one area that you cannot eat the kerang di kawasan itu kerana kerang itu telah dicek terdapat toksin pada kerang tersebut. So they put it in the news to stop eating kerang from that area, that particular area. So that's one of the impact bila berlakunya pencemaran pada kawasan pesisir pantai because of the harmful alga blooms and juga pollution yang lain. So it will affect the shellfish, and eventually it will affect the fish and we as well.
How about the activity? I mean, the activity to reduce the occurrence of algae blooms. Is there any exact activity or?
One of the factors, the biggest factors, is because the fertilizers yang digunakan, and it will end up in the rivers and somehow it will end up in the oceans. So using stop using chemical, or using chemical that friendly, biochemicals yang friendly to the environment. Selain daripada itu, contohnya macam selain fertilizers, sabun kan, shampoo, like sabun badan, or like pencuci muka yang ada beads tu kan, that one is also is not good for the oceans.
Facial soap,
fish soap. So using chemical friendly, oceans chemical friendly is one of the solutions. So kalau shampoo, cari yang tak ada paraben, or what the ingredients in the shampoo. So selain fertilizers, macam tu jugalah caranya untuk mengurangkan pollutions in the ocean.
Thank you, Mr. Gaddafi.
Thank you.
Dr. Yani, I just wondering about the Jabatan Perikanan in Malaysia. Divided into how many sub-department?
Every state has different Jabatan Perikanan. So Jabatan Perikanan Selangor, Jabatan Perikanan Terengganu, Jabatan Perikanan Kelantan, something like that. So
they are not become one for the nation.
They become one, but one jabatan will in charge in that state. So if anything happen, contohnya alga bloom di like oil spill in Terengganu, so Jabatan Perikanan Terengganu will take care of it. Something like that. But there's one ministry of but not Ministry of Fisheries, but Ministry of agriculture.
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 In the previous time here in Indonesia, Jabatan Perikanan is under the management of Minister of Agriculture. but maybe start from 2000, the year of 2000, the new minister is become Minister of Fisheries and Marine Affairs. Yeah, so maybe similar in Malaysia.
Yeah, similar.
We have one minister for national sector, and also we have something like branch office in every single area, in every
branch office,
province. Yeah.
Yeah. Same.
Thank you, Pak Kadafi.
Okay, thank you, Pak Abu. Any other question from the participant? Yes, I have a question. So, what your advice to our student to the action to reduce the climate change or for save our ocean? Yes.
Okay, for mahasiswa ya. Okay.
Yes.
So if you go to the beach, okay, kalau pergi mandi laut or picnic at the beach, so always bring your garbage with you. Okay, don't throw it at the beach, don't leave it at the beach. Especially plastic straws, plastic food plastic, okay, don't leave it at the beach, take it with you, okay, and throw it somewhere more safe, okay. And then if you macam kalau di UMT, if we go to the beach, we cannot use sabun, we cannot mandi guna dengan sabun. You have just bilas dengan air and you cannot use sabun because then it will end up in the oceans and will affect the ecosystem. And then probably you should change your lifestyle, recycle, reduce, and reuse. Okay, that's the most important thing. So even in my house, I always recycle my plastic. I always reuse my plastic, and I also recycle my papers. So every kertas yang dah tak digunakan, I will recycle. Yeah. So by changing our lifestyle, we can somehow contribute to lessen the effect of climate change.
Berarti ada aturan ya di sana. Ya,
Kalau di Jepun kan dia recycle juga. If in Japan you have to recycle, there's separate bins for plastic, separate bin for papers kan. Even in the UK, I also recycle.
Kalau di sini bebas mau mandi pakai sabun di
laut. Di UMT dia tak bagi, they don't allow you use sabun in the Pulau Bidung. Pulau Bidung is especially for UMT students for research. Yeah, so if you go to that island, you cannot use your sabun. Yeah, your soap. So Arif asked questions. When the temperature increase, the fish will move to higher latitudes, true. And when the temperature decrease, the fish will move to the lower latitude. Is that right? And also applied to other marine organisms. Okay, for fish, yes. Okay, fish will migrate according to their favorable habitat. According to their favorable temperature yang dia boleh toleransi. Okay, so if warmer species, dia akan berenang, they will migrate to higher latitudes. Okay, so that's why like yesterday I said that probably if our fish in our coastals become more warm, so dia akan migrate ke kawasan yang lebih tinggi, then it will change. Somehow maybe the species will change. So spesies yang ini ada di perairan sekarang akan berenang ke kawasan lebih tinggi dan akan diganti dengan spesies lain, probably. So for other organism seperti for benthic animals, since they cannot berenang, they cannot swim, so the effect will be more detrimental. So seperti coral dan juga shellfish, because they cannot swim, they have to adapt to ocean acidification and to the climate change. Okay, for fish, untuk pelagic fish yang boleh berenang, they probably change their distributions and migration. Tapi untuk haiwan atau organism yang tidak boleh berenang dan migrate, they don't have a choice but to adapt. So if they don't adapt, they will become extinct. Yeah. Okay. Marine organism yang tak boleh berenang, contohnya macam polar bear cannot swim, so they depends on ice untuk live kan. So when the ice melt, polar bears tak boleh makan, they cannot find food, and they have no shelter, and they will drown in the ocean. So for marine organism macam polar bears, mammals also akan affect by climate change.
Okay. Any feedback or response?
Okay, thank you,
from,
Arif.
Pak Arif? Okay, thank you again, Dr. Yani. Dr. Yani. Okay. Kita masih punya 4 menit.
4 minit.
4 minutes. Ya, 4 menit. Ini
Pak Gaddafi, maybe if there are no question anymore from the student and also from lecturer here, Dr. Yeni, Pak Arif is actually our senior here.
Oh, yesterday he said he's junior.
Yeah. So I would like to maybe say something to Dr. Yeni. Dr. Yeni, maybe this is your last week for the lecture. Yeah. So on behalf of our institution, I would like to say thank you so much for receiving our invitation and for sharing your knowledge and for sparing your time during your busy time. During your busy time, you can share your knowledge to our students, and overall maybe more than 100 students join your class, because for the course of fisheries, for the course of fisheries oceanography class, we have maybe more than 4 classes in two different study program. So the first one, 3 classes in fisheries resources utilization study program, and also 3 classes in study program of marine science. So there are a lot of students join your class during 6 times of your lecture. If I'm not mistaken, you have done for 6 times.
Yeah, 6 times.
Yeah.
6 hours lecture.
Yeah, 6 hour lecture. So this is the final class. But Dr. Yani, so very thank you for your time. Thank you again for everything. And I hope November 2nd, Dr. Yani, so November 2nd, due to we have an opening ceremony maybe in the beginning of October. Okay. So we also have a closing ceremony in the beginning of November.
Yeah.
So November 2nd, we will have a closing ceremony. So Dr. Yani, I will invite you again. Please join us November 2nd. Maybe start from 9 o'clock, maybe. Okay. 9 o'clock, and maybe officially our program during this month, during 1 month. So in this month, we invited 8 professors from abroad, and also 8 practitioners, professional practitioners we invite. So this is the highest number in our university. Oh. So our, actually one study program invite one professor actually. But in our study program, in the study program of fisheries utilization, fisheries resources utilization, we invited more than 5 professors and more than 5 practitioners. So in total 8.
Wow.
So thank you so much. You
Thank
are
you.
one of the invited professor that receiving our invitation.
Thank
So
you for the
please,
opportunity
yeah,
also.
please join again.
Okay, inshallah.
Yeah, if in our closing ceremony, and maybe for the next 3-in-1 program, we will find out about the opportunity to invite you again, but depend on the course, because sometimes the course is open for all semester, but sometimes it's only open in one semester, once in a year. Sometimes twice in a year, but sometimes one in a year. So I hope you can receive our invitation again.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you also for the opportunity. So this
Yeah.
is also a very good opportunity for me. I also learn. You learn by teaching. So by teaching, I also learn. And I think sometimes I talk too fast. I don't know whether you understand or not, but I really hope that somehow all my lectures, you gain something benefit from it. Even walau sedikit, harapnya dia memberi manfaat kepada semua mahasiswa dan mahasiswi.
Yeah, I think all of your lecture, you drive in very good pronunciation in English and Malay. So you're using both languages. So
Yes.
I believe our student is understood about that.
Okay,
So
I hope
thank
they
you very much.
understand.
Yeah, very
Yeah.
clear, I think,
Okay.
Dr. Yeni. So
Thank you.
is there anything you want to say, Dr. Yeni?
I think that's all for now.
Okay.
But yeah, thank you. But thank you for everyone. So I might not see every 65 students in this lecture, but the one that I always see, Maulana, Lufia, thank you. So for listening for 6 hours every class.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for listening.
Yeah.
Okay, and then although I don't see you, all the students, but I hope, I wish you well in your studies. I hope you graduate, and I hope good luck in your futures endeavors. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. You too, Dr. Yeni. Keep healthy.
Yeah, keep healthy, everyone.
Yeah. Silakan Pak Kadafi.
Okay, thank you very much for Dr. Yeni and Dr. Abu Bakar, and also for all participants for joining this class. And is Mr. Arif, he said he is to be able to join research with
Yes, you
you,
can.
Dr. Yani.
You can just email me if you have any questions or any inquiry, or and you just email me. Yeah.
Okay. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
For sharing to us, and apologize for mistake. Thank you.
Thank you.
I close this class with say Alhamdulillah, and then Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. See you, Dr. Yeni.
See you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Maulana. Thank you ya semuanya. Pak Kadafi, thank you.